Hey fellas, how's it going? We're getting the reveals for Ultra Limit, and the leaders have been revealed. I've been waiting for them to make a video about the card reveals, and now they're here, and so are we. I think we're gonna get right into it, start with the red leader, UI Goku. We've known he was going to be a leader for a while now, because he is the pack art. We didn't know what color. It was safe to assume he was red. I was kind of hoping they were going to throw a curveball at us, make him yellow or something. But no, it does make sense. All the Universe 7 support's already in red. Personally, I'm kind of sick of the Tournament of Power arc and Universe 7. I want them to move away from that for red in the next set, but that's an entire different thing. Anyways, this is not a standard leader, actually. On the front, he is draw 1 on attack. That's pretty standard. When your life is at 3 or less, flip this card over. Important note, he doesn't do anything on his Awaken. You just flip him. This is the first leader in the game that does that. And then on the back, Awaken side, choose up to 1 battle card in the battle area, and this card's original power becomes the same as that card's power for the battle. If I'm understanding this right, after your opponent combos and all that, you activate this, you now tie them. So you can just throw a 5 on it and block the attack. This ability goes pretty hard if you have Tournament of Power Arena on the field, because then you're not even giving up the card. And it's looking like this leader's going to want to keep as many cards in hand as possible. I'm sure there's going to be a way for them to draw off the top of my head with what we have now. There is still that Goku that draws on swing if you have a 30k card on the field on either side. So it's a little too early to judge this card. I have a feeling though, the fact he doesn't draw on Awaken, this card he's either completely snapped or he's going to be really bad. And we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. Next up we have Gohan, who should have been the blue leader last set, but that's not really anything to do with what we're talking about right now, but it's true. Anyways, unlike Goku, he is a standard leader. Draw 1, 4 life, flip him over, draw a card. His leader ability, discard 1 card from your hand during this turn. The next time you use an extra with both Saiyan and Earthling in its special traits from your hand, reduce the cost by 2. Now, I will quickly say, this does not make Final Hope free. You cannot reduce specified costs unless stated otherwise, like on Sharpener and that Bulma from set 1. Those say reduce specified cost by 1. That's why that works. This will not work. Final Hope will still cost 1 even if you discard. Now that being said, we did see a target for this ability, and I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more blue extras with a cost of 3, because it doesn't make sense to make this an ability and only have 1 target for it. So, again, this is the leader. I'm not going to be able to judge until we see the support for it. I will say I like that it has nothing to do with 7 or less. It looks like they're moving away from that, which I'm glad, because I hated the 7 or less thing. It didn't make sense. Blue needs a big overhaul. There's a lot of stuff in blue that upset a lot of people. That's a discussion for another time, though. Anyways, moving on. Next we have Saiyan Saga Vegeta, and he is interesting. Not so much on his front side, it's standard, 4 or less, draw a card, yada yada, doesn't matter. His Awaken side, however, place 1 of your energy into its owner's drop. If you have 4 or less energy, play up to 1 Saiyan-only battle card, with a cost of 3 or less from your hand. So, just the idea of green being at 4 or less energy in the late game is crazy. I feel like with a lot of these leaders, and with this set, we're going to see different things from the colors than what we're used to. Whereas normally green wants to ramp really high, I feel like this Vegeta wants to play really low, and is going to get effects off of his field card that we know is coming. We know from another card we'll talk about that there is going to be a full moon card. So I have a feeling you're going to want to play out the full moon for 4 or 5. Discard an energy to play a 3-cost Saiyan that somehow plays out something big for free. We'll have to wait and see, that's just speculation. I do like how it looks like it's doing something different than what we're used to. This was my biggest complaint about the game so far, is that everything was mostly the same. Sure, some leaders played different, but you're still playing the same generic cards. I feel like this Vegeta isn't going to do that. This might be the first green leader that Broly is not included in at all, even as like a tech option. Next up is Super Buu. A little trivia for you before we actually talk about the game. His front side has to be after the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, because his eyes are red. Prior to entering the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, Super Buu's eyes are white. Anyways, other than that, his front side is nothing to talk about. It's standard. Now, his Awakened side, this is very interesting. When attacking, once per turn, draw one card. Which does make sense when you read his actual leader ability. When your battle card with Majin or Evil Wizard in its special traits is KO'd, switch this card or up to one of your energy to active mode. Now, I will quickly point out, this leader will not work with Turn to Candy, because that card specifies if your leader is Majin Buu, and this is Majin Buu Evil. So, you can't use that for that ability. But there's probably going to be other ways to KO your own stuff for this effect. And I have a theory with this leader, and I'm probably wrong. I feel like his entire gimmick is going to be multiple restands a turn. It would be different than what we've seen so far from Yellow, which is in line with the green leader we've seen. And I guess in a way, Gohan not being tied to the 7 or less, the real wild card here is the UI leader. We're going to have to wait and see the rest of his support. I would really like that if instead of resting and freezing stuff, his gimmick was just, I'm putting out a lot of pressure with my leader. Last up for the leaders that are in the set is Baby Vegeta, whatever you want to call him. If you want to count him as Vegeta, we now have a Vegeta in every color except for red. Anyways, he's a standard leader on the front, and his Awakened side, you can use your Rest Mode battle cards with Brainwash or Machine Mutant and their special traits and combos. So this leader's viability is going to depend entirely on how good his cards are. There will be no way to judge him until we see his cards. I will say that is a powerful effect though, and not much else to say till we see his cards. To wrap up the leaders, we didn't get a 25k leader this set. A lot of people thought it would have been the Super Buu. The yellow leader would have been the 25k for this set, but no, he is a standard leader. So that's very interesting. That means we're not going to be getting one every set. Now we have some actual battle cards and extra cards to talk about. I'm going to start backwards from the first revealed cards officially, and then we're going to talk about some stuff that hasn't been officially revealed yet. Anyways, we have Kaioken Goku. When attacking, if attacking a battle card with a cost of 4 or more, this card gets 25k power for the battle. Then place one card from your energy into its owner's drop. And then at the end of your turn, if energy is placed into its owner's drop by this card's skill during this turn, draw one card and add this card to your energy in rest mode. So in context with the Vegeta leader we have, you can swing this card into a battle card. Let's say you're at 6 energy. You could play him and then use his attack. You place an energy in the drop, and then you can leader ability to play another 3 cost. You're now at 4 energy. At the end of your turn, you're going back to 5 when this goes into your energy in rest mode. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know how I feel about this card. It's some early game board removal in theory. It's a 50k swing into a battle card that your opponent has to get out of to keep that card. That's a huge ask in a lot of cases, but at the same time, if you're just swinging this neutral into a double striker, that's only asking for a super combo. It's not that big of a deal. I don't know about this card. Genuinely, I can't tell if it's good or bad. If it was at least a 5k combo, I would say, yeah, it's something you could include in any green deck, but we're not there yet. I don't see it. Next up, we have Toppo. On play, you take 1 damage if your leader is awakened. Add the top card of your deck to your life. Really good for Jiren once he's awakened. You get your leader effect on your turn. Very helpful against the blue matchup where your Jiren is not staying down. This at least guarantees your leader ability isn't dead. It's still a 30k swing. This one has 5k combo power, so it is useful. I feel like even potentially other red decks are going to want to run this, because a couple of them are running 8 1-cost draw 1s. This can fill that role and still be a viable threat. I don't know, that's one we'll have to wait and see. Jiren's definitely going to play this. This is 100% getting played in Jiren. It's really good for Jiren. Next up we have Gotenks. He is a 4-cost 30k, 0 combo. Permanent, if you have 10 or more cards in your drop, this card gets 5k power. On play, place the top 2 cards of your deck into their owner's drop, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with a cost of 3 or less and place it at the bottom of its owner's deck. So, this card scared me when I first saw it, because we saw them before the leader cards. I was worried the leader for blue was going to be an alternate win con leader, which, those are fun. I like alternate win cons. It changes up how the game is played. I was worried it was going to be they deck themselves out to win, which, I want to win by decking the opponent out. I have a bit of a reputation, if you weren't aware. Deck out Sal. So yeah, this would have ruined my life, but that is not the case. I'm no longer afraid of this card. In fact, I want blue to play this card every turn that they possibly can. Probably won't play it against me, because I'm playing Cell. Anyways, actually speaking about this card, I don't know that you'd want to play this over the Gohan. That bottom deck's 2 costs of 3 or less. On one hand, this card isn't tied to the 7 or less gimmick, which is really good, but does that matter at this point in the game? At 4, going into 4 energy, are you going to have much more than 7 in hand as blue? I don't know, this is going to be a wait and see card. As of like right now, I feel like you'd play Gohan over this in most blue decks, but the Gohan leader himself might want this specifically. I feel like that leader is not going to be tied to the 7 or less gimmick at all. Next up we have a Goku, 3 cost 20k, 5k combo. On play and when attacking, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards cost or 1 or less and place it at the bottom of its owner's deck. So it's like a 1-cost Zamasu that's also a viable attacker. I like this card. I don't know if it really fits in. 3 energy is a lot for something like this. There's better cards in blue you'd want to play at this point. At this point you could play Videl, grab something like a 1-cost Trunks and play that Trunks. You could play Vegeta, bottom deck something and lower the costs of your opponent's cards. It might work more with the new leader. I hate how it's Another World when the leader from last set was Another World. Why did Gohan and Goku not, like, why did those leaders have to be how they are? It doesn't make sense. Oh, this card is crazy. Trunks GT, 2 cost 20k, that doesn't really matter. The permanent is what matters. If you have an energy marker, your non-Trunks GT battle cards can't be removed from the battle area by your opponent's skills. So this card says all your other cards get barrier unless you're playing against red, in which case this card does very little. Also on play, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. So this is a lot like that future Gohan in green, except this protects everything, where Gohan only protects specifically 3-cost cards. This card is crazy. It's going to be a 4 of in every black deck. It gives you so much. Next up, we have a green Chaozu, 3 cost 20k, when KO, draw 1 card. This card's garbage. There's not much else to say. You wouldn't want to play this on turn 3. Every green deck has a much more important thing to do on turn 3. Now, with the new context of the Vegeta leader being a lower to the ground deck from what we've seen, maybe it gets played there. I don't think so even then. If there's a way to cheat this card out, maybe it can be played. Just with what we've seen right now, this card just, it ain't it. There's no reason to ever play this card in any green deck. Next we have a yellow 1-cost Hercule. On play, draw 1 card. The notable thing about him is it's Hercule, that immediately makes him a good card. Let the man cook. Next we have Pan GT. It's a 1-cost card. On play, choose up to one of your Son Goku GT. It gets 5k power for the turn. Then if you have an energy marker, that card gets plus 5k power for the turn again. So it's like Margarita at home, except for black. There's extra steps to it. And it's specific to a GT Goku card. I guess it's okay. Not much to say about it. It's like a discount Margarita. It's not nearly as good as she is because she's generic. This card is locked to a specific card, which honestly, I like that. I want to see the game go in that direction where you're playing specific cards for specific leaders. My biggest complaint for the game right now is everything feels too generic. I got it the first 3 sets, that kind of had to be the case because it was limited the amount of cards you had. But now we're at a point where there's a lot going on. They can afford to lock cards to specific leaders and specific traits. So yeah, I'm cool with it. I like this card a lot. Next we have Grand Priest, a 3-cost 20k. On play, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, and it gets minus 5k power for the turn for each of your battle cards with Angel and their special traits. Every set they give us more of these Angel cards. I don't think they're meant to do anything now. I feel like later on there's going to be a cool Angel deck, maybe, but I think this is just a random card they threw into the set for the most part. I don't see how this fits in. Especially with the removal, a lot of the Angels we have are 1-costs. This ain't gonna see anything. It's just gonna be bigger Whis. That's it. Next card is a 1-cost Piccolo. He's a searcher. He finds Gotenks or extra cards. It's okay, it's a searcher, not much more to say about it. Next card is a Gohan. Permanent, and this is interesting. If you have a field with full moon in its card name in your battle area, this card gets plus 5k power. So we know there's a full moon field coming. Also, it's a Self-Awakener in green. Green doesn't really have many Self-Awakeners, although there's like one green deck that wants to Self-Awaken anyways, so it's not really a huge deal. I guess the Vegeta is also going to want to Self-Awaken, so it matters there. 10k combo is pretty good. It is a relevant attacker. Self-Awakener, solid card. Not much else to say. Moving on. Next we have B. He's the best card in the set just because he's B. He's dog. I like him. I don't like what he does conceptually. I don't like that we're trying to kill the dog. He's a blocker. When KO, choose up to one of your battle cards with Majin and special traits. It gets plus 5k power for the turn. 1-cost blockers are awful. They just don't work. I wish they would stop printing them. If they started printing, like, a card with this stat as a 2-cost with blocker barrier, those would be useful. Print those instead of this. It's still B, so I'd probably put it in a Buu deck, though, just because. Honestly, I'd probably still put that in any yellow deck, just so I could charge them. All of my energy would be good boys. Next, we have a 4-cost 30k Goku GT. If your leader is Son Goku GT, this card is 45 power or more. This card gains double strike. So it's a double strike a turn early, and that's all it does. I don't know that this gives you more. Well, it absolutely doesn't give you more than the Bardock double strike does. You still potentially combo 2 cards into this just to make it a double striker. Whereas the Bardock removes something when you do that. I don't know, man. It's hard to judge until we see some other stuff that it's leader specific. Like, I can see it, but a lot of it that I see you doing with this card requires you to have 5 energy anyways. So why are we not just playing Bardock, you know what I mean? Now we're moving on to extra cards. Our first one, the red extra card, Arch Enemies Team Up. Activate battle. If you have a Frieza battle card with Universe 7 and special traits, your Son Goku that's in a battle gets plus 20k power for the battle. This card's really bad. So first of all, you need to have a Frieza on the battlefield to have this do anything. And then you're only using it on a Goku card. Granted, there's a lot of Goku cards. But you know what else gives you 20k power for a battle? Margarita. And then if you don't have a Frieza on your defense turn, which is very likely because your opponent's going to want to remove a lot of Friezas that you would play, this card's just going to do nothing. Margarita is still a 10k. There's just no room for it overall. That's my opinion on it. I could be very wrong, but there's just so many better cards that give you that 20k boost that you could play. Even the Kamehameha, which is a 15k, would be better than this card, just because it has no other requirements. This has 2 other requirements that you need to fulfill to use this card. I don't think it's good. Next we have Galactic Donut. 3 cost, activate main, draw 2 cards, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and it can't attack during your opponent's next turn. So with the Gohan ability, you discard, play this for 1, you get to draw 2, and stun something for a turn. So this, with the leader ability, replaces itself. If you pay 3 for this, you're drawing a card. This is pretty good. I still think we're going to see more extra cards that have the Saiyan Earthling combination that are 3 cost. I doubt this is going to be the only target for that leader ability. Now this card is interesting, the Self-Destructing Cybermen. So we know a Cybermen battle card is coming. Anyways, this ability, activate main, 1 energy, KO one of your Cybermen battle cards, draw 2 cards. So you're KOing something to draw 2. I have a feeling the Cybermen battle cards are going to have an on-KO effect. So that is going to be interesting if that's the case. This might be a really good card. We'll just have to wait and see. Now we have Blind Spot Absorption. It's a 1 cost extra. Activate battle, opponent's turn. Your cards that are in a battle get 20k power for the battle. Very interesting that they're making cards now that specify in a battle. So you can't buff other cards, which was a tech for Jiren, where if someone went in on you with a double striker and you had like Margarita on the field, you play Saved by a Barrier on her, and then suddenly you're safe. So they're changing the wording on cards going forward, I think, so you can't do that. I doubt they're gonna errata the cards before. So that's still, it's just like a going forward thing. Anyways, moving on. You could pay 2 energy for this card to draw 1 card, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode. Now I could be wrong. I don't think you can do both of these effects in one battle. I think it's either or. We're gonna have to wait and see on that one. I don't quite recall the rules on that. I'm pretty sure that is the case though. It's one or the other. You can't do both. Here's the last extra card, and it is by far the best card that they've shown as far as the extras go. Super Galagun. It costs 2. Activate battle. Your cards that are in a battle get 25k power for the turn. Then, if you have a card in your combo area, choose up to 1 battle card with a cost of 3 or less and return it to its owner's hand. Worst case, this card is giving you a 25k buff, which is, that's pretty good for 2 energy. The best case, this is by far the best defensive card in the game, and it isn't even close. This card says if you have 2 energy open, your opponent outright cannot go for game with a 3 or less. They cannot combo into you with a card of 3 or less. Because if they do, you're just going to bounce it, and they lose all that value. This is the first card we're getting that says it is not safe to go all in a certain situation. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to fall for that. They're going to have 2, 3 energy left. Opponent's going to let themselves go down to 1. They'll all in with some idiot 2 cost card. Combo dump their hand. just get their card bounced. And then that's the only card they have and they die next turn. Not much more to say, this card is crazy. And now we're caught up with official reveals. We have this 5-cost Frieza. On play, if your leader has Universe 7 in its special traits, until the end of your opponent's next turn, this card can't be removed from the battle area by your opponent's skills, and it gets plus 20k power. And when attacking, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, it gets minus 10 power for the turn. So, first thing I want to say, even with this card, I still stand by what I said, that extra card sucks. This Frieza does have staying power, but you're playing this the turn before for 5. And then on the follow-up, there's much better cards to play. Like, I guess you could follow up with a double striker and still play that card. But again, you could just play Margarita, and in more situations, it's going to give you more value. But this isn't about that extra card, this is about this Frieza card. It's good because it has staying power. It can't be removed from the battle area by skills, and it's going to be a 45k until your next turn. So it's going to be very hard to remove this card. It's absolutely sticking around for a turn. Except against red, but then they're dedicating their entire turn to removing this, and then it's going to be a question of, is that really worth doing? I don't think so. And now that's it for official reveals. We do have a couple leaks and screenshots we can look at, though. We have a screenshot of the Set 4 promo cards. We have a Daima Goku, a Kid Buu, a Baby, and Kaioken Goku. From what I can see, the effects for them are the Goku. We'll start there. His effect is a blocker, a 25k 3-cost blocker. This is interesting with the new leader. Anyways, let's look at him. On play, if you place a card from your energy into its owner's drop during this turn, draw 1 card. So that has synergy with the Vegeta leader. I'm seeing some shenanigans you can do. You could play out future Gohan on 5, use your leader ability, go back down to 4, play out this Goku, swing with the Goku, and then at the end of your turn, use your Gohan ability, play out another Goku. So you'll now draw 2 cards, you'll have a 25k blocker for an attack. There's moves you could do with this. Moving on, next card isn't all that interesting at all. It's the Daima Goku. It's a 2-cost 20k. You play, if you have 7 or less cards, you draw 1 card. Not much to say about that. The Buu, it looks like he KOs one of your battle cards to stun an opponent battle card. Very interesting. That helps you with your leader ability as Buu. And the last of the promo cards is Baby. And his ability, he's a top 4 searcher. He's looking for a brainwashed or a machine mutant. And then bottom decks the rest of the cards. Weird that it says top 4. That could be a mistranslation of some kind. Overall, I think this green Goku is really good. Even with that being a 0, that's worth playing. The Kid Buu being a 0 kind of hurts. I don't know about that. It does have some use though, because there's some other card leak screenshots we have. So the last card I have is from this Japanese magazine, not sure which one. It is a 5-cost Kid Buu. It's a 35k double striker that on play you play out a 4-cost or less, I think, of Majin or Evil Wizard. So this can put out a lot of pressure. And then if you have a way to KO something, you can swing in like 4 times that turn, one of them being a double striker. I guess you could use the promo Buu we just looked at off of this to KO something, restand your leader. It's interesting. Anyways, that's all I have for now. I probably won't talk about the new set until we've seen the full reveal. I'll give my thoughts on all the cards. Until then, thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see y'all later.